In this lesson, we are going to stamp and die cut to create this fantastic rectangle flip it card, and it's so easy. Now the products that we're going to use are my gift card flip it card, which is really fun because it holds a gift card, but you don't have to use that die to make it hold a gift card. It can just be a rectangle if you want. So that's really fun, and it folds to an A2 size card, so it's awesome. Then we're going to use popsicles, and we also have ice cream on this one, stamps and dies that match. And one of my favorites is this one, the frames that match the dies. So these are really fun because these frames, these words pop out. So you don't have to use that word if you don't want to. You can use different words with these frames, which are so much fun. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is die cut our card base. I always like to start with the card base and the layers because that's going to give me my foundation to create my card. So I'm going to pull out the 3 largest pieces. Now this die set comes with 19 dies. Don't be overwhelmed with 19. We're going to focus on the 3 largest pieces in the kit. So we're going to grab those 3. We're going to grab our Big Shot machine. Now, of course, you can also use the Vagabond or the Big Shot Plus or even the Express machine. And I'm going to trim my paper. Now, here's a tip. When you're trimming your paper, because you can see mine's a little too wide, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my cutting pad, lay it down right on top, and I'm going to trim ever so slightly. I know that what's under my cutting pad is the right size. So now I have the right size to run it through the machine. I'm going to lay that down. I've got a little extra piece there. We'll just fold that over. Okay, let's get our die cut base. We're going to lay this down. Now, we don't want any speed bumps, so remember, we want to kind of skew that ever so slightly. Stay on our platform. Don't go like this because that's not good. We want to stay on our platform, but we're ever so slightly going to skew that when it goes through the machine. It's going to give us a better cut every time. We're going to lay that down and we're going to run this through. So easy. Now the best part about the flip it card dies is they cut and score at the same time. So we're going to peel that up. And here I have my die cut base with 4 score lines in the right spots. We're going to put that off to the side. Then we're going to cut some pattern paper. So here I have one layer. Here I have another, and we're going to do the star one for this one, and the words on this one. Now this one, here's a tip. This one has cute little letters on it. Now I want to make sure that I don't accidentally put my die like this, because if I did that, my letters would be upside down when I put it on my card. So I want to kind of get an idea. I want to look at my card base and say, okay, it's going to go this way, so I'm going to lay it this way, so those letters are not upside down. We're going to tilt that ever so slightly. Tilt this one too, because we don't want any speed bumps. We're going to grab our cutting pad and we're going to run those through. Now these are going to be the layers for our card. Now these dies do come in the gift card flip it. Okay, so we're going to peel those up. There's one, and we're going to peel this one up. There's 2. And then let's put some of our card together. So what we're going to do is we're going to add the layers. Easy peasy, just add some adhesive to the back. And the blue you're going to see all the way around. So it's perfectly measured to go right on top. This little panel here, we're going to add a little panel. Now I want to share something with you that's not part of this card, but it's very important to know. So let's lay this down and then I'll show you. Now remember how I talked about this would be a gift card? There is a die in this kit that has the funniest looking notches. It has a notch here and a notch here. Nothing else cuts. If I wanted this to hold a gift card, I would lay this down right in the center and I would die cut that. And it would cut those little notches to hold my gift card, which is really fun. But we're not going to give a gift card this time. Maybe we're giving a gift instead. So now I don't need those little notches. Now what we're going to do is we're going to fold our card. We're going to hold it in the air, big bottom, little top. We're going to fold it in half towards us. Then we're going to take that top flap and fold it up. We're just folding it on the score lines the die created. Then we're turning it to the left. Little side is always on the left, and there's the makings of our flip it card. So now let's decorate the front. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to just do something really easy, and we're just going to add a little cardstock to the center. So we've already cut this, and we're just going to line that up so it fits perfect right there. And then on the other side, we're going to add the yellow. So simple. Just like that. And then we're going to do some stamping, because I'll be honest, stamping, besides die cutting, is one of my loves. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab the handy dandy secret weapon. Now, if you don't have the secret weapon, you need to get it. What is it? It's just a mat that gives you better stamping every time. Because remember back in the day when we used wood stamps, remember there was a wood block, there was a little piece of gray rubber, and then your pink or red rubber, and then your table. There was a hard block and a hard table when you stamped, 2 squishy items in between. Well, when we use a clear stamp, we only have 1 squishy item. We don't have that gray foam. We need to introduce that gray foam right on top of our hard table so we get a better impression every time. It's a physics thing, and I don't want to go into all the physics parts of it, but it gives you a better impression. So if you've ever stamped and half your image is missing, it's because you need a secret weapon. Just a tip. Okay, so what we're going to do, and we're going to stamp these first, but I just want to show you what we're going to stamp. We're going to stamp quite a few things, and I've already stamped my little ice cream cone, but we're also going to stamp, and this one's already stamped too, the yellow piece here. So we're going to stamp these 2 here. We're going to get our block, and we're going to get this out. Now, here's another tip. When you're stamping, this is brand new. They just pulled this off the shelf for me. We are going to stamp the first time onto scratch paper. Now, why are we going to do that? Because it kind of conditions the stamps ever so slightly. The second impression and every impression after that are going to be much better. The first one just kind of gets all the extra materials off of it. Now, what we're going to do is we are going to do another trick. I love showing all these fun techniques to you. We're going to take this frame die that comes in the kit, and you'll see this frame is, you can see through it. See how you can see through it and it doesn't have a full back? That's because I wanted to give you another stamp that says you're the best. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna lay this down. Here's our die that matches it. We're gonna lay this stamp right inside that die and give it a little toot like that, move it around on our table. It's face down. Then we're gonna take our stamp, our stamp block, and then now it's perfectly ready to be die cut once it's stamped. Now, why did I do that? Because sometimes people, and I'm going to exaggerate, but sometimes people will put this on a block and they'll go like this and see how it's really crooked, and they won't notice, and they'll stamp it, and then they'll try to die cut it and say, Stephanie, your die doesn't match your stamp. I assure you it does match, but you need to make sure, because it doesn't have the back, you need to make sure it matches. So again, we're going to lay the die down face down, stamp face down, give it a little swirl around just to make sure it finds the right spot. Then we're going to take the block, lay it on top, and now it's ready to stamp, okay? So now we're going to ink this. Oh, and I got ink on me already. So we're going to ink this up, and what we're going to do, remember the first time we stamp it, we are going to stamp on scratch paper. So we're going to take this and we're going to stamp it just like that. Beautiful image. The first time it was beautiful, but you always want to do it on scratch paper the first time. So now we're going to ink it again, and we're going to stamp on our real project, just like that. Perfect. Secret weapon, that's what it is. Oh, and we're going to add the you're the best. Now, I always do my stamping separate. The reason why I do that, even though I could have done the you're the best, because what if I wanted to change the color or anything like that? So I always stamp separate. So now this time we're going to ink this you're the best. And again, scratch paper first. Beautiful. Now we're going to stamp on our real project. Just like that. And clear stamps. You can't go wrong because you can see exactly what you're doing, which is fantastic. We're putting that off to the side. Then we're going to stamp on this little strip of paper, You Deserve a Treat. So we're just going to grab our You Deserve a Treat. Again, scratch first, because this is a brand new set. Now the next time I get this set out, I don't have to do it on the scratch paper. And we're going to grab that right there. Look at that. Beautiful. Okay, move that off to the side. Cover your ink pad because you don't want to put your hand in it like I did. And now I've also, just so you know, I've stamped this and I've stamped this for my ice cream. And now we're going to do some die cutting. These don't need to be die cut. That's extra. These don't need to be die cut, but these do. So let's grab this. And of course we're using a magnetic platform, because how did we do this in the olden days, right? So we're going to line all of these up, and I'm using the extended platform, so I have all this space and I can die cut these all at the same time, which is a nice time saver. Let's open this up. We're going to get all the dies that match. So that one goes there, And this one goes here, and the rectangle I already had out, here it is here. So now we're just going to start lining all these up. So we're going to line that one up. Now it's snapping to a magnet, so we're just going to move our paper a little bit and see how that perfectly lines up. And we know it perfectly lines up because we did that earlier with the stamp on the block. That one looks good, and let's move this one right there. Now, this is something that's going to be interesting. Will it fit on a regular cutting pad? Let's see. It will. I always like to use the smallest cutting pad necessary. Why? Because I'm lazy. It's less rotations on the machine. So I'm going to lay this down, lay that down, and I'm going to run all of this through. Oh, and this is where all the fun is, because now they're perfectly stamped and perfectly die cut. So we're going to pop that out. Pop this one out. Look at that. Look at that. And pop this one out, and you can see how gorgeous that is. Isn't that fantastic? I just love it. Okay, now let's put our card together. We have all these fun pieces. So this is our working one, and we're going to add our cute little guys here. Let's get some foam tape or foam squares, anything we want. Oh, put it on the back. I love to use foam tape or foam squares because they kind of just make it pop off the page, literally. No pun intended. We're going to lay this down and add that right there, a little bit higher, because we're going to add the you deserve a treat. Then we're going to add this one and add this right. Whoops, don't run away from me. Add that one right there. Oh, it looks good enough to eat, doesn't it? I just saw a place that sells soft serve ice cream. I think I'm going to have to get some after lunch today. And we're going to add adhesive to this. Now, I didn't add it to the whole strip, and this is a trick. What I do is I'm going to lay this down, pull this down all the way so I can really see it, center it, and that looks good right there. And then, instead of trimming it and then bringing it to my card, I put it on my card, and then I'm just going to turn it over and trim the pieces off. And I'm going to use the card as a guide. So now it's going to be the perfect size, because if I were to take that to a trimmer and try to trim it to 3.5 inches or whatever inches it was, chances are I'd cut it too big or cut it too small, and that's just so easy to do it just like that. So there's the front of the card. Then for the inside, we're going to add the "You're the best," because you are the best. And we're going to add that right there. And then just to finish it off, let's add a cute little balloon. And let's get some adhesive for this. And we'll just add a cute little balloon just like that as it's blowing in the wind. And there we have our gorgeous "You Deserve a Treat. You're the Best." Isn't that cute? So much fun. Thanks so much for joining me, and stay tuned for even more.